Hello, and we are back.
That's meant to be the end, or you get taken out. Not welcome to the stage. Bang.
Well, we can't do that because Nazari erased all my shit. I don't have that many options to go with now. Unless I jack another one. Do not actually fuck it. We're jacking another one. We'll be back in like a minute.
You don't go to the movies, do you?
Movies?
I wrote an article saying there should be more sex in the movies.
I thought shit like that only happened in the movies.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
When I was growing up in Bakersfield, my favorite thing in all the world was to go to the movies on Saturday afternoons for the chapter plays.
I had been out all evening at the movies.
I've let him give me a foot massage, and when we go to the movies, I've let him hold my hand.
Come on, it'll be just like in the movies.
Lydia would come with me when I made the movies, and we would laugh about it all.
So, do you want to go to the movies?
So let's go to the movies! Yes!
Now we are
Wow.
live.
Now we're live.
I'm just gonna chop off that ending and add Mike's house party to it. Fuck it. You've never done that show anyway, so fuck it. I deserve that shit now for him stealing.
Perfect. You
But
take
yes,
it down.
we're back for Mike's house party where we talk randomness. And I got Kelly. First of all, buy our shit. We got a new shirt. You got Chend. It's already sold
got
3
Chend.
shirts. We
Mhm.
need to get to 6. So 3 more
I've
people
been
need to
Chend,
buy.
so yes, absolutely.
Nazaro needs to buy one. He got Chend. He definitely needs it. But yes, today we talk randomness as usual. But since I have Kelly on, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about something that she absolutely loves.
Oh god. Is it that movie clip again? You gonna play that whole intro again?
I know, right? That's going to be the entire thing. I'm just going to keep playing it over and over every like 2 minutes. Make the time go by faster. No, you love reading. But, you know, the thing is, I can't read. So, fuck it. That's why I have you here for that.
Audiobooks, my friend. Bam, problem solved.
So, what got you into reading? Why do you like the word?
Being
Why do you hate
an
movies?
only child, I think that is a lot of why I like reading or movies or video games. I think I just like stories in general. It's that escapism. It's that having friends. It's that being. I'll always really like fantasy books and movies and things like that because I just like world building. I find it really fascinating. Any book that opens with a map at the front, I am down. I might not look at it all the time until we travel to the land of what's-he-face, and I'm like, where? And then you flip back to the front. But no, stories. My mum always said she'll never say no to buying me a book, and that's just always the way it's been. So books for Christmas. Yeah, just really enjoying stories. And like I said, I do think that does come from being an only child because I would go to bed every night and, read by myself. And that was like my routine. And then the Nintendo Game Boy SP dropped with
No more books.
with the backlit screen and books went to the wayside because then it was Pokemon Sapphire every night, So, and then, of course, we got Nintendo DS and whatnot. But, I've always been, being able to immerse yourself in a story, I've always loved. So I've always been someone that before a movie or a TV series dropped, I will try and source out the original books if possible because I like to be able to see comics as well is what's been keeping me around for the past few years as well as building out our comic library. But, I do try and find the original book before I want to watch something, if possible. So, before June dropped, I rented that from the library because I like being able to picture it the way I can before being able to see it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, do you do the opposite? Do you do like the movie tie-in books that come out usually after the movie hits? Do you ever read those?
Oh, to quote Liz Lemon and 30 Rock, I hate when they put the movie cover on the cover of the book. I hate that. So like I think I don't know if they did like Hunger Games or Divergent. In my school library, they have Divergent with Shailene Woodley on the cover, and I'm like, oh fuck that off. Like not having that. Oh no, I don't mind because like movie tie-ins are great because you're at least if you loved the movie, some people will seek out the book, and anyone seeking out more books is good in my opinion. But I do sort of So like say Game of Thrones, I read the first one first, and then watched the first season, and then I think I would watch the seasons sort of in par with the books.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I only got through the first book and I really enjoyed it. I just went, fuck, that's a lot more chapters to go. And I'm already in the TV show, so I kind of want to not spoil myself, even though I know that they go off from the books towards the end, especially.
It was
because,
really
he
funny.
never fucking finished it.
Exactly. I don't know about Winds of Winter. Like that, I'm waiting for that. But especially with Game of Thrones, like when that was airing, if I had read all the books before, I think it was like around season 5. Big spoilers for the end of season 5. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we don't know for certain someone's coming back.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the last spoiler I didn't already know, because I knew like the season 3 twists and what was coming. So when everyone's going, oh my God, this, I'm like, but I know that. Like, it was sort of like trying to walk around on eggshells and not spoil it for people that hadn't read the book. So like my family or things like that. I was just like, But I love Garth's comment. I've got a few Shakespeare collections. A Midsummer Night's Dream will always be my most favorite. Haven't got any Sherlock Holmes, so I need to get onto that. But I 1000% agree. Some books in my library, I reckon I could inflict some serious blunt force trauma on people.
Oh.
Phone book level looking. So,
I used to get those Barnes & Noble collector books that were like the hardcover ones that looks like you can just bash somebody in the fucking face with at all times.
Garth, do you have a favorite Shakespeare play and a favorite Sherlock Holmes story? If you're in the chat, love, because I would love to know that. Mike, are you a Shakespeare person, or is it the movies do a good version?
I read through a lot of Shakespeare's shit during high school, and I haven't got of course, I've watched the mini adaptations that they've done through his work, but I haven't gone back in years on rereading his shit, so I definitely should get on that. The movie tie-ins, though, there's
some good adaptations.
I spoiled myself on something. Like when Mummy Returns was coming out, they came out with the tie-in book first, and like an asshole, I read it, and they had the big spoiler of Evie fucking dying halfway through. I went, "What the fuck is this shit?" I was so fucking pissed that I had to read that and not watch it on the fucking screen, and then to know that she actually comes back to life after like 10 pages. Like, I think it's literally 10, 15 pages later, they bring her back, and I went, what the fuck? You're going to kill her, at least kill her. Don't bring her right fucking back. But that type of stuff is where I stopped reading the movie tie-ins before I watched the movie. I've watched the movie.
Okay.
Because I used to love those. I used to have, grab, I think they did one for iRobot at the time. They've done a shitload of them. Hey, Malcolm.
Party? It's a party going on. Oh, nice. And I think that's what's great about Shakespeare is that we get all those twists and turns, and you can take those liberal adaptations of it. So I'm a huge Jane Austen lover. That would be my favorite author. I love those collections. And I've just seen there's going to be a YA adaptation of it. It's Pride and Predilections or something like that. And it's going to be a murder mystery in the vein of that Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yes.
Are you a fan of when they do a twist on a classic
100%.
literature?
It's what gets me to read some of those books is when they do that twist. I think a lot of people, when they think Abraham Lincoln, we don't want to read a fucking old ass book about the president, but Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter?
Vampire Hunter?
Yeah.
Sold.
You get fucking people in there. Let's see,
Hamlet's great.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's definitely a great adaptation of that shit.
I mean, we've got The Lion King, but whatever.
And then Treasure Island books. What would be your books that you'd bring on an island?
On a desert island. I thought, I'm like,
Yeah,
Treasure
I don't
Island.
know why the fuck I said
It's
Treasure
not
Island.
Treasure Island is the
Yeah.
definitive edition of that one. Let's
Yeah.
get that straight. If it doesn't have Tim Curry, not sold. Desert Island books. Oh, I'm not gonna do Treasure Island. False, but okay. Yeah, I'm not one of those ones that'd be like, I would take a book on how to build rafts. Like, no, answer the fucking question. It's really, what are your favorite books is what you're asking me. What can you read over and over again? I would take a copy of Alice in Wonderland. That's still my most favorite book. Like Garth, I have like a beautiful hard copy editions of it and the annotated Alice and things like that. But I think I never get sick of reading that. I would take, I was thinking of Dahl. I was thinking either Matilda or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I really love when classes come in the library and they do their class novel studies and they read Roald Dahl. So I get to hear like the teachers reading Matilda and whatnot. Like it really just makes my day. And then what else? I don't know. Do you?
He is not.
The Outsiders is one we did for novel study in high school as well. That was a better book than I thought it would be because I do like that 50s aesthetic with like greases and things like that. So I thought that was good. What books do you like read regularly, like every year or so? I've been trying really hard not to do rereads because I find my pile is just forever growing. Forever growing. So instead what I try and do is do like one fantasy or modern fiction book. I love like the Percy Jackson series. Like I will go through that and then I'll do a classic and then I'll do like a Jane Austen or The Great Gatsby's probably been, I take that question as what's my airplane book. I used to have to fly to Singapore every 6 months. So that was a 2.5-hour flight. I would take The Great Gatsby or The Catcher in the Rye, just one of those like thin classics because those are like narrators I never get sick of living within their voices. So those would be what I would say are my regular books. What about yourself, Mike?
For like 15 years straight, I reread Lord of the Rings every year. And then the last couple of years, I've kind of slid off that. But it would be the one book that I've read every single year since, I was 6? Like, I've been rereading that shit for a very long time. I love that book so much. But yeah, you did ruin my joke on the Treasure Island, but I went, The Idiot's Guide to Get Off This Fucking Island. That's what I would bring.
No, I hate that. Answer the fucking question. And who says it's a bad tropical island? This could be your dream tropical island with a nice house and drinks and a coconut. And
well, if it had,
I
will say, if it had a TV that had electricity, then yeah, it would be perfect. I'd be there.
It's so funny you talk about Lord of the Rings because I was thinking today, books first if possible, but even like the other night, I was scrolling through Disney Plus and they had the Mysterious Benedict Society. And I'm like, I should read that. I should buy it for my school library. I should read that. And then I just went, I'm just not going to fucking read that. And sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and watch the thing if you just know you're not going to read it. And it sucks. It's like admitting defeat. But yes, sometimes you just can't read everything. When we were prepping for the show, I'm like, please don't ask me like blind spots, but I'm going to ask you now because we brought up Lord of the Rings. And I was thinking, I've had the same collection of 4 Lord of the Rings books that I bought through Scholastic Book Club in 2004 in my year 8. I have tried to read Fellowship of the Ring, I would say no less than at least 6 times over the course of 13, I'm 31 now, nearly 20 years. I get to Tom Bombadil and I just don't fucking care. I just don't. He's got this pretty wife. I'm like, good for you. It's my like holy grail or whatever. Like I'm on the quest to find it, to finish it. I'm going to give it a really good crack this year now that I don't have any uni and I have some time to actually read it, but I'm scared my copy is probably actually falling apart at this time because it's gone from my childhood home in Kerala over to Indonesia, back down to Perth. Like, so now that you said that, I'm like, yes, I'm going to add it to my Goodreads. We are doing Lord of the Rings. What is your biggest blind spot that you need to fill that I can now push you to finish?
Probably Frankenstein. I've never read Frankenstein, and I've always wanted to read Frankenstein.
Yeah, well, we've been watching that the Queer for Fear documentary, and that was so
Oh, yeah.
fascinating about Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein and inventing science fiction. Yeah. Yeah, I'll push you to do Frankenstein because, like, that's only a thin book as well, and that would be a really interesting one. Because how many times do you reckon you've? I'm sure I'll like it when I read a bit more of it. I love that recommendation of reading The Hobbit first. That's quite
Yeah,
smart.
no, that is definitely that. It is definitely what Joseph said. It's definitely more accessible for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
we do it as one of our novel study for like year 6 students. So like I should be able to feel like I can accomplish that. But how many times do you reckon you've watched Frankenstein, Universal Monster, original Frankenstein?
Good at 40 plus.
Yeah, so
Probably is, yeah.
you should read the original and see how it compares and
Yeah.
how the adaptation was and stuff. I really loved Bride of Frankenstein. It's Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh,
when
yeah,
they
yeah,
have
Bride of
Mary Shelley and everyone at the start. I loved that with Elsa Lancaster playing her.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. So
That
I
is my
tried-
favorite monster movie. I love that movie.
Bride of Frankenstein?
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely
really
love
good.
it.
Have you read Dracula?
Yes. Yeah, I've read
That's
that.
another one where I started reading it. It's what is it? It's like a pistolin or something. It's the style of writing where you're reading through letters or reading through like diary entries. And I couldn't take that
that's fair, yeah.
super much.
Yeah, it definitely is a like when you're not expecting it, especially, and you start reading and it's just basically diary entries. It is very hard to get into if you're not really into that.
Mm.
I don't
Love seeing the love for Frankenstein here.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
there any other gothic horror, classic science fiction, like any H.G. Wells or Jules Verne or anything that you've got gaps that you want to
Oh,
plug?
I grew up on H.G. Wells. So yeah, I've read all of those works. Like those were my favorite growing up. I love that shit so much. And then like God damn it, what is it called? Restaurant at the End of the Earth, the first one.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, I love that novel. I don't know why the fuck I could not think of that fucking title. But I love that series of books. That's another series that I read all throughout high school. Time Machine,
Yeah.
I absolutely love.
For our first Christmas, Alec bought me this beautiful hardback edition of Hitchhiker's Guide with all the other Douglas Adams
Oh.
stories. And that's another one, like, I could definitely take someone out with that. Like, which would be very Adams of me to do so, I think.
Yeah.
But, oh, nice. And then there was none I've heard about recently. So, yeah, I want to get onto that. But the reason sort of exactly, I'm thinking it's the same one that I've got. Like, it is huge. It's got like a nice big, I think it's whale or something on the front. I think it is. But yeah, I'm not always a science fiction. I think I've told you before, like usually in a bookstore, you'll have sci-fi / fantasy. And I just tend to lean on the fantasy end. I like we're walking on a quest type books at the moment rather than we're traveling through space. But Hitchhiker's Guide, like I've heard nothing but how like humorous it is. So I very much want to get into that series.
And
Thank you. And then there was none as Agatha Christie. That is
yeah.
that is a big blind spot I want to fill. I really want to read Murder on the Orient Express and
yeah,
some of the
that's
Miss
something I
Marple
need to read
books.
as well.
Some detective mystery stories, because they are ones that I do enjoy in a book form, because it is that whodunit and it is that piecing the clues together. And when you're reading it, it's a little bit of a different sensation to when you're watching the movie, because the movie is edited and someone else's view, whereas like a book gives you more breathing space to be able to pick up the clues and live in people's heads and things like that, which I find really good. Oh, the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah, that's the one.
Nice.
OK Dick has a lot of great shit. I also really enjoy his books.
They've done a new adaptation or something, a TV series or something of a Philip K. Dick story. I'm blanking, but I just remember seeing recently they've done. When I was scrolling through Netflix, I was like, oh, that looked interesting. And now I can't remember, because that is the problem with nowadays, is just scrolling. I can spend 20 minutes scrolling through and just not land on something.
And that's another thing of reading is not just fiction books, but I'm really into a lot of the nonfiction for like movie related shit. Like I just finished the Tarantino book. I'm really into reading like autobiographies on directors, actors, writers. I go into that shit all the time, or like histories of like they have the Slackers book, which talks about Kevin Smith, Richard Linklater, a bunch of them getting their start in the 90s. I'm obsessed with doing that shit. Hitchcock's book with what's his fucking face? Truffaut. Hitchcock and Truffaut
Oh, yes.
is
Yes.
incredible. Those interviews are incredible. I've watched the documentary and read the actual interviews. They're incredible. That shit I can't get enough of. And that kind of stopped me from reading a lot of fiction books for a couple years there because I got obsessed with just reading a bunch of that shit. And then I finally got back into reading more fiction shit.
Absolutely. The Tarantino book, we've been chatting about it for a few weeks now. Like,
Yeah.
how did you find it? What were some of the best parts of it? And did you end up with a longer to watch list because of it?
Oh, I've known about it for like 7 months because he started promoting that shit like 7 months ago, and I went, okay, when it hits in November, I'm getting it, and I absolutely loved it. Like he does go into the main 70s movies everyone knows, but he also delves into the movies he absolutely loved that a lot of people either don't give a shit about or a lot of people don't know about. A lot of the blaxploitation movies of the 70s he goes through because he's very big on that. A lot of like Paul Schrader movies. He gets into like a hardcore, which is like the 8mm with Nicolas Cage. It's basically that same kind of concept. But yeah, my watch list pretty much grew. Someone made a list on Letterboxd. I was talking to Boat about this because Boat's going through the Sidney Lumet book. And it's both the same thing, is that they made a list of movies that they all talk about. Tarantino has 1,000 movies that he talks about in that book. And I'm like, fuck. And for the Sidney Lumet, I think he has like 200. But Boat got a good idea on that. He goes, what I'm going to do is anytime he mentions a movie I have not seen, I'm going to go watch that movie and then go back and keep reading. I went, that's a fucking great idea. That's how you do it. But yeah, like my watch list definitely got bigger with a lot of 70s movies that I hadn't watched. And then I've rewatched a bunch that I haven't seen in years. Like I've rewatched Deliverance recently. I've rewatched Dirty Harry. He really, like, I didn't know how obsessed he was with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I thought was awesome. Yeah. I knew he was a big Jaws guy, but I didn't know that Close Encounters he absolutely fucking loves as well. And I think what's great about that book is that he delves into what made him a movie fan in the first like chapter. And he's basically me. He goes, my parents would just take me randomly to every single movie on the planet. And they just said, they went, you got to sit there, you got to watch it. Like, I know you have questions and shit, you can ask me afterwards. But if you act like a child, we're just going to keep you home because, yeah, you shouldn't be watching this shit anyways. And that was basically the same thing with me. They would go, we're going to take you to go see these horror movies or these like very adult-oriented movies. Like, if you just act like a child, like if you're running around and shit, we just ain't gonna take you. But if you actually go in there and watch it, we'll keep taking you. And that's what I did. That's what I got to love me movies, and that's what I think is awesome.
I love funny. That is absolutely what I'm doing now. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through Howl's Moving Castle, the original Dinah Wynne Jones.
Oh book. Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah.
So I've been struggling to get back into reading in the same way that I've been struggling with movies for the past year or so, just because of like my attention span. I always thought of myself as like, no, I'm not being affected by like nowadays and social media and TV and stuff. Like I can still hold it, but with university and such, I was just finding anytime I sat down to read, like June took me a really long time to read, and I was only able to read it during like school breaks because anytime I was sitting down to read, I was feeling really guilty. I'd be like, well, I could be reading over notes, or I could be reading over like lecture material or something now instead of sitting down to read something that I just choose to enjoy. So it's been nice recently, and working in the school libraries, just picking up kids' books is what I've been really enjoying. And that's what's really been sparking my love of reading. And then I'm being able to talk to my students about what I'm reading as well, because it's what I've got in the library, I'm just taking it over and reading it. But Howl's Moving Castle is something I've been wanting to read for a really long time because I love the movie so very much, but I've always heard that it's quite a liberal adaptation. And that is the other tricky thing about books to movies, is that sometimes like I think Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is one of the better ones I've seen. There's only so few things that actually are omitted from that movie, and I think it does a fantastic job of placing you straight into Hogwarts, basically.
100%.
Whereas Howl's Moving Castle, Hayao Miyazaki's taken a lot of.
That's accurate.
That's the best childhood there. Howl's Moving Castle is basically only a few key scenes and then just taking the characters. But it's very funny because as I'm reading through, love, we know Treasure Planet's a great fucking movie. Can we just not? Let me talk for a bit and change that shit up.
Well, we're back to books.
You can't read all fantastic. Mike, are there any ones that you can think of where it's like really the movie adaptation is not very much like the original book, and for better or for worse? Like I'm pretty sure, isn't it in like Jaws? There it is, isn't it in Jaws?
1,000%.
He's having an affair with the wife or something.
Yeah, affair with the wife and then mafia in there. Like, what the fuck? It's a bunch of random shit that they have in that book that has nothing to do with that fucking movie. And Spielberg rightfully took that shit out because he goes, yeah, make it about the fucking shark. Like, keep it about the shark. We don't need all this other nonsense in there. Like, I enjoy the book for what it is, but yeah, it does not compare to the movie. And I think also Jurassic Park is another one that adds a lot to it that doesn't match with the movie. And of course, I think the movie does it better, of course. But yeah, I still enjoy reading Jurassic Park every now and again. I'll read it. I've been wanting to read The Lost World because I heard the stuff that they add in there makes that book a lot better. So I'm very curious on that.
Let me rephrase the question then. Do you think there's any books that the movie adaptation has not been able to get right?
Oh,
because forever we talked about like Dune being an unfilmable movie, and I'm fucking nervous for that second part. If you know what is sort of coming, I don't know how they're going to ground that. But is there any other ones?
I haven't watched it yet, but they based it off the TV show just came out with Charlie Hunnam on Apple. It's called Shantaram.
Yeah,
Shantaram. I read that book years ago when I was in high school and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I went, "This is such a massive story. I can't see them doing it right."
It's unfilmable.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they're going to do it with this, because a lot of the book is like, it's an autobiography about him going through the shit he went through, because it's him getting out, like escaping prison and doing a bunch of shit. But a lot of it is just him just chilling and reading. And I'm going, like, you can't really film this. Like, a lot of this shit is going to be boring as shit if you try to film this. So I'm very curious what they're going to do to be, of course, they're going to add shit to spice it up. But I'm very curious what they did with it. I think they finished it on Apple TV. I think it's finally finished and it's all fully out there to watch. But I've been very hesitant to watch that.
I've got two adaptations that I think they just haven't nailed yet. I think I don't really enjoy the Francis Ford Coppola or the Baz Luhrmann Great Gatsby. I don't know why. I think it's a truthful enough adaptation, but maybe there's just something that doesn't, when I'm reading that book versus watching it, like I'm just not as immersed in it. Yeah. Maybe it's something to do with like the narration you need to be seeing, like seeing people's point of view through the book as opposed to actually just watching it. Because when you're just watching on the screen, I'm like, these are just all horrible people. But when I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, I love this. They are horrible people, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
In that weird way. The other one is I did not enjoy the American Gods TV adaptation. I think I
never watched the TV adaptation, so I saw the previews and everything like that, and I just never got into it to actually want to watch it.
I love me some Neil Gaiman. I haven't watched Sandman yet. I'm nervous.
Oh, Sandman is great.
It's good? Okay.
Yeah,
because I thought Good Omens was pretty good. I did enjoy that. And then Stardust I really enjoy, even though some of the books like a bit different. I want them to do an adaptation of the Graveyard Book. I know that's been in development for forever, but I like his more kids story sort of ones. And then of course we get Coraline. So I think it's unfortunate. Oh, that's good to know. That's good. Aled, if you're watching, we need to get on it. Oh, I haven't known much about the Who Framed Roger Rabbit book, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Aled, we're on it. Because that's another one. Like, obviously we've got a lot of graphic novel adaptations as well, and we talked about it. When did we talk about it? When did we talk about DC stuff? When do we talk about DC stuff? Because I know that's been a bit hit and miss with the animated universe.
Yeah, especially some of the Batman adaptations have kind of fell flat on their ass.
Yeah, so like I really didn't enjoy when we talked about Batman villains. That's what it was.
Oh yeah.
So the Hush adaptation I didn't enjoy, but you just watched Under the Red Hood. What did you think of that?
Oh, I loved it. Like I've seen that one before, and I always thought that was a great adaptation of that. It's such a fantastic hour long. I think it's hour and 15-minute DC animated movie. And Jensen Ackles, that's what attracted me to it at first, was because I fucking love him in fucking Supernatural. So him as that would be interesting to hear him as a voice of the Red Hood, and he fucking pulls it off.
I think there's something about being able to just translate from comics to animated. That bridge isn't so far to gap. So like I love the Flashpoint Paradox. I think that's still my favorite one. I think I sought out that comic after watching that DC animated movie.
Oh, okay.
It was just as phenomenal. But I would be nervous to see a live action adaptation of Flashpoint. I don't know if I'm alone on an island on this one, but I think there's just maybe a bit too much there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard. Is there any other graphic novel stories that you would like to see? I've read a little bit of The Wicked and the Divine. I think Saga's one that we talked about what's maybe unfilmable. I think that's one.
That's probably
so in depth.
Yeah, that's something that would be interesting to see, but I don't think they would do it well. There's just so much in there.
I want to see a Spider-Gwen solo movie.
Oh yeah,
so badly.
Interesting.
Because that's a comic series I've been reading in the past few years, because that artwork, if you've ever seen the covers, especially of those books, so cool. Great artwork. And just, I'm always a sucker for, of course, I just talked about Flashpoint, of an alternative universe story. I love that shit.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more individual Spider-Gwen. Would be good.
Now, as we wrap this up, we do have to talk about one more thing.
Oh, God.
You must watch The Fabelmans.
True.
I know that in Australia it's probably coming out later, but
I think it's Christmas.
Is it Christmas for you guys? Fuck. Yeah, for us, it is Thanksgiving. It is next week. All you motherfuckers better go watch it. It's The Fabelmans. Don't miss this shit. Spielberg's life, for Christ's sakes. This is your Lord and Savior right here. Go watch the shit out of it. And for like Paul got to see an early screening of it. He said it was fucking fantastic.
Oh,
and it fucking hyped me up even more. I'm gonna be seeing that shit all weekend, numerous times. But yes, what did I do here? I took away the can't see shit. There we go. Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened there, but yes,
party.
Yeah,
it's a house party. You never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
It's a house party where we just sat around talking about books. That's going off.
Oh yeah, see, that's the ultimate party, is talking about fucking books. Because no one else is doing that shit. Oh yeah, 1000%. Yeah, he talked about it numerous times that he cried on that set while he was watching it. It's gonna be fucking amazing. But yeah, Kelly, thank you for joining me. We will be back next week with Late Shift.
Oh, do you want to drop the topic?
Yeah, we'll drop the topic. Since it is Thanksgiving the day before, we're gonna do a special one where we're gonna talk about favorite Thanksgiving food. And I'll add drinks to that too. If you want to add fucking drinks to it, you can fucking throw in a drink as well. Just favorite Thanksgiving food, what you like to eat on Thanksgiving. I'll be eating a lot. I'm sure Nazario is too. I bet he's got a bunch of sandwiches ready to go as well. But yeah, that will be the topic for next week. So everyone join us there. All 6 of you in the comment section, jump on.
Alan!
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have Thanksgiving. Just what do you like to eat?
Exactly.
I'll tell you now, it's chocolate. There we go.
It's fun.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, we need to have a secret meeting afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
Take us out. See you around next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy endings only happen in the movies.
And I do hope you'll forgive me for saying, you are as lovely now as you were in the movies.
It comes from a place you know about, maybe from the movies.
I never should have told you my weakness is going to the movies in the daytime.
You know, like in the movies, just as the good guy is about to kill the bad guy, he cocks his gun.
I didn't get a chance to say goodbye.
I want to say goodbye.
Goodbye, Angie.
Goodbye.
I'll see you next week at our usual time.
Well, maybe so, Joe Bob, maybe so.